Jane's addiction spirals more out of control with lawsuits and counter lawsuits. Crazy story just gets crazier every minute. Let's find out more. So as I mentioned yesterday, Jane's Addiction members have sued the lead singer for $10 million over lost earnings during the tour with the onstage fight in 2024. 3 members of Jane's Addictions, Dave, Eric and Stephen, have all sued their lead singer Perry for a fight related on stage, which then led to the cancellation of not only the gig but also the entire tour. There was an apology sent out after the incident. Said, "We want to extend a heartfelt apology to all our friends for the events that unfolded last night, and as a result we'll be cancelling tomorrow's night's show in Bridgeport and the rest of the 2024 tour, which is also cancelled." A lawsuit was filed against Farrell that accused him of litany of offences including assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, breach of duty and a breach of contract. And additionally, it claims that the band lost over a reported $10 million on the account of the tour cancellation, and requests that Farrell pay for all outstanding bills related to the tour cancellation. That is just a crazy amount of money lost over, from what we know, is just an onstage fight. We don't really know too much about it. The report then goes on to say the band can no longer function as a result of the defendant's conduct, including his sudden violent outbursts and demonstrating inability to serve as a band's frontman and vocalist. Now that suggests that he's got a tendency for a violent outbursts, plural, is saying that he does it quite often. The physical, the emotional and financial harms defendant has wrought has deeply impacted the plaintiffs, their families and their loved ones, and it is time for the defendant to face the consequences of his actions and be held accountable. Says that the Jane's Addiction had previously agreed to make tour-related decisions with a simple majority rules approach, which Farrell made difficult. Perry had an indigenous habit of overruling decisions of the band and selfishly making everything about himself and his wife Etty. Now, they've mentioned Etty in this, in pretty much every single article I've read. The reason why they've mentioned Etty will become much more clearer in the counter lawsuit by Perry. Something's being accused of Dave Navarro to not only Perry but also his wife Etty, which is why she's been mentioned. Suit claims that Farrell's drinking was affecting his ability to perform during the tour, and he would often drink wine on stage and slur his speech. Perry frequently went on long, rambling discussions between songs for no apparent purpose other than for his own amusement. The problem was Perry's performance would often worsen as the night wore on and he became more intoxicated. While much of Navarro's Farrell speech was caught on camera, the Suit says the altercation continued backstage. Now this is where we get to Etty. Nobody can calm Perry down backstage. When Navarro confronted Perry about his violent outburst, Perry threw another unexpected punch at him, striking him on the left side of the face. So not only did he hit him on stage, which to be fair, it looked like a weak punch. It looked like it was a punch thrown by a legitimate old man. Whatever's gone on, something that obviously has gone on before they went on stage, because it just looked like it was building up to that point. The suit addresses that the fact that not only did the members of Jane's Addiction lose out on the income based on the tour being cancelled, they also had plans to finish 8 instrumental tracks after the tour. So they've got a new album coming out. Tracks that the band will potentially be on the hook personally for with Warner Music Group. So now they're also getting in trouble with their record company, which they'll have a contract with to do an album, finish an album and complete a tour as well. Now they're getting into some serious issues with a lot of legal companies. Dave then goes on to say that he is making it very, very clear that he will no longer work with Perry Farrell at all, and his bandmates also are in agreement. He went on to say, I have to speak in broad strokes here because there are other individuals involved and it's still a very tender and unresolved situation. There was an altercation on stage and all the hard work and dedication that writing and hours in the studio and picking up and leaving home, crisscrossing the country and Europe and trying to overcome my illness. It all came to a screeching halt and forever destroyed the band's life. There's no chance that this band will ever play together ever again, which is a very sad thing because I wouldn't like to say they're an iconic 80s band, but they're a well-known 80s band. Now, sadly, this has all got even worse. Perry Farrell has now counter-lawsuited his bandmates. This is just in the coming out the last few hours. So Perry's counterclaim, Dave Navarro, Phil Perkins But Navarro, Avery and Perkins apparently said that Jane's Addiction's decades of success should be jettisoned in pursuit of a years-long bullying campaign against Farrell, including harassing him on stage during performances, including other tactics trying to undermine him by playing their instruments at a higher volume so he couldn't hear himself sing, without blasting his own in-ear monitors at an unsafe level. The harassment escalated on September 13, 2024 to physical violence by Navarro and Avery against Farrell on stage during the Boston show, and the assault of both Perry and Perry's wife Etty backstage by Navarro. But now it's becoming clear that there was a big incident backstage whilst there was a fight on stage, and it involves Perry's wife. These altercations precipitated in the decision by Navarro, Avery and Perkins to both call off the rest of the band's North American tour without warning or consultation, and using Perry as a scapegoat. Navarro and other band members took up arms themselves to abruptly cancel the entire tour, violating contracts and disregarding all professional obligations and breaking the band up for good. Now, we're going to get into the details of the backstage assault between Navarro, Perry and his wife. It gets interesting. This is where it's going to get really, really dirty. It's going to be dirty laundry in public. Regarding Navarro's alleged backstage assault, the complainant reads, Navarro now falsely claims Farrell hit Navarro with a sucker punch. What actually happened was that it was Navarro who menacingly charged at and aggressively assaulted both Farrell and his wife Etty backstage, shouting, "What the fuck was that, you motherfucker?" Farrell took a defensive stance and shouted, "Get the fuck away from me," to which Navarro replied, "I'm not working with you ever again." It's just a sad situation, isn't it, really? It's really sad that we know that bands, they live together 24 hours a day on tour buses or in vans or whatever their budget allows as they're touring for months and months on end. It's just a sad situation to see that bands, are having such major issues together. Sometimes it can be resolved backstage, it can be behind the scenes so no one sees it apart from maybe crew. But this one was so public, it was on stage whilst the performance was happening. That's the saddest part that we're all having to witness. Whether you're a fan of Jane's Addiction or not, it's still a sad situation for this to happen. And I hope that this can all just be resolved pretty quickly, but by the sounds of it, there's a lot of assault and battery going on in lawsuits and counter lawsuits, which is going to be very, very hard for all involved, not just the band, but also the families involved as well. Also, no one wins in this. The fans that turned up to watch the gig may have got a refund. I don't really know too sure about that. But they also lost out because they wanted to go see a band that they may have seen a couple of times or may have never seen them before. They're not going to get that chance. That's been taken away, and they're not going to see them ever again because the band has now officially split up. Just to add on that later after the incident, Navarro with drummer Stephen Perkins and bassist Eric Avery also posted a joint statement to their respective Instagram accounts in which they said the cancellation of the tour is a result of continuing pattern of behaviour and mental health difficulties of our singer Perry Farrell. Our concern for his personal health and safety as well as our own left us no alternative. We hope that we will find the help he needs. They also went on to express regret for the cancellation, and they could see no solution that would either ensure a safe environment or stage or reliable reliability to allow us to deliver a great performance on a nightly basis. Our hearts are broken is exactly what it says. So later on, Farrell went on to write his own statement and posted it also to Instagram, saying the weekend had been incredibly difficult and having the time and space to reflect, it's only right that I apologise to my bandmates, especially Dave, fans, family and friends for my actions on Friday's show. Unfortunately, my breaking point resulted in inexcusable behaviour and I take full accountability for how I choose to handle the situation. As I say, it was then cancelled, but that's kind of an admission from Perry that he messed up on this one and he's apologised to everyone, as I say, not just the band, but the fans as well. We'll keep up to date and I'll keep posting about it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.